Hello, I'm sick. This is why I'm sitting all the way over here.
He's also sick, so I'm probably doing most of the talking.
We're basically a colony
We're
now.
We're good.
What was sick was round 6 of the NRL.
That's stupid.
It wasn't bad. It's probably the best round for the last few
My
weeks.
best tipping round for ever.
It was somewhat predictable for most of it.
I got 6
Yeah.
or 8, I think.
Yeah, well, it was
Yeah,
definitely
pretty
not
much.
as,
Oh my god.
Christopher Nolan-esque as
Yeah.
some of the other rounds have been.
Yeah. No, it's good.
Then it has not been without its fair share of upsets, however. Starting with the Thursday night game.
Penrith. Penrith are bad.
At this stage, I'm not calling it an upset anymore, the way Penrith are playing.
Yeah, if I'm Ivan Cleary and all the people at Penrith, I've hit the big red button. There's alarms going everywhere.
Yeah,
This is-
yeah.
It's full on panic
bad. This
stations
is
now.
bad.
As good as Nathan is,
And as good as Isaiah is, there's not.
they don't have anybody else. I mean, and when Toto's not playing, and when
I've done it wrong on a jersey.
let's talk about this week,
Yeah, we're worried about how bad Penrith are right now,
Okay.
which is bad.
which is not
Very
good.
bad.
It's
When they get done 30, was it 30 to 12 or something? 18?
30 to 12.
12.
They even had Dylan Edwards back and they didn't look particularly cohesive.
No. You get given that it's his first game he's played for a while.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah.
And Toto was out as well.
Toto was
So
also
it's
out,
like,
and they're feeling that with how bad Casey McLean is.
Yeah.
he's not covering himself glory recently. But
That entire edge of Talangi, McLean, and Alamotti was just horrendous.
They are not
Well,
good
he's
right
supposed
now.
to be the
They're not good right now.
Cooper
Yeah,
from the Rays come in, and he was
he
average.
was bad.
Yeah.
He was very, very bad.
All the managers are bad.
But they really don't have anybody else. Do you really think that Brad Schneider is going to be that much of an improvement?
I don't see what they've got. I really don't know what they can do. They're just not. They're not the football team from last year.
Which one of the Lions needs are really big linchpins for that team.
Forget that James Fisher Harris is also good.
Yeah, so
Yeah, he hasn't been.
he's a big loss because they didn't really cover him, did they?
No, well, I think they've done okay with Lindsay Smith. He's an excellent player, and he had another good game.
Yeah.
I think they missed Fisher Harris's leadership in the forward pack. But no, I think they really, really missed Luai as a secondary option to Cleary. Because Cleary has to do everything,
Yeah.
and he's playing like he has to do
And
everything.
the other thing is, other teams know this.
Exactly.
They know that they only have to shut Cleary down.
It's
and
very Ponga at Newcastle.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this is now.
And you think Newcastle are also struggling.
Exactly. You need to have more than one main playmaker
You do,
these days.
you do, and that's all the good teams do have that. So
Yeah, exactly. They need to do something with their edge defense. It is not good. Their forward pack is doing fine. I have no critiques of them because Isaiah Yeo is Isaiah Yeo. Moses Leota is still playing well. Lindsay Smith is good. Liam Martin's good. They have good forwards who are playing well. It's the outside backs making crucial mistakes, and the edge defense is bad. They need to get that fixed.
well, they're leaking about 30 points a game. It's not. Yeah.
Unprecedented for the squad.
This is 2018 Penrith.
It's bad. It's
It's
very,
bad.
very bad. I guess look, I'm hoping they improve. I know a lot of people won't.
I actually don't care.
Because I like when there's good football being played. And there's much of that right now. So hopefully some of these teams that are underperforming can pick up, including Penrith. I guess we will see.
I don't mind if
We're going to have Nathan Cleary who's going to go down as the greatest player of all time to never win a Dally ever, which is sad.
Look, he'll still be an immortal at some point, I imagine, but yeah.
Now we almost know he can't carry a team by himself. I wonder how much that's going to eat into his GOAT status.
He's not GOAT, but
I guess
it would be hard for him to actually become. I mean, look, he's a very, very talented, very competent footballer, but it does help when you have pressure taken off you. He's not like a Wally Lewis who could drag a team kicking and screaming across the line.
Yeah.
He's not like a Jonathan Thurston who could do the same thing, or an Andrew Johns or whatever. As much as I dislike Johns, he was a very, very good playmaker. He's not. He can't do that, and that's seen at Origin level even. He cannot get the team across. Like Mitchell Moses comes in last year and plays the house down. He couldn't do that. And that was why New South Wales probably won. Mitchell Moses was excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the best halfback they've had there since Brent Hodkinson almost, maybe.
He was.
Who else have they had?
I mean, Cleary's played for a little bit.
Yeah,
but he hasn't been,
mentioned
he hasn't been transcendental at
He's
Origin.
not dominant at Origin, and that's what you need to be at rep level if you want to be considered in the GOAT conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Whereas players like what you say, the Thurstons, the Cronks, the Smiths, the Lockyers, the Lewises, all those, they dominated at all levels of football.
Yeah.
Whereas Cleary hasn't quite done that yet.
Currently, he's not even dominating a club
No.
level.
So
And mate, look, I will put that as a function of the rest of the team because I don't think there's much more Cleary can be doing. Like there was the one, it would have been late-ish in the game where he throws a beautiful Harbour Bridge ball out to the wing, who's uncovered but is 2 steps behind where he's supposed to be. Alamotti completely missed his assignment. That would have been a try if Alamotti was in the right spot.
Yeah.
So
has it changed again? Maybe. And these are the things we always say momentum's a big thing, right? In a game of football, it could change up, right? And
the scoreline should have been worse.
well, it could have been worse.
Because I'm sorry, Amarillo should have scored that try. That was not a penalty in any stretch of the imagination. There is no way. They specifically changed this after Cameron Smith went out and Harry Grant came in and started doing that exact thing, throwing the ball to people who were trying to get out of the ruck. That hasn't been a penalty for years. And all of a sudden now it is.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
That's dumb.
That was dumb.
Refereeing this round was bad. And we'll get into that a lot throughout a lot of these games, I think. But it was especially poor this week, I think.
You know, anyway, I could ramble about the
refereeing. Yeah, you can ramble about that, I know that.
We don't do that.
Speaking of other things to ramble about, the Dolphins have won 2 in a row. And look half decent now.
Their attack is starting to click. And
I can't wait anyone else to say.
given that they have like the fastest back line in the competition, maybe with Manly, if they click, it's going to be
Very, very scary.
Yeah.
I agree. And look, this is the most involved I've seen Hammer this year. And it shows because they looked good. And he was excellent.
Yeah, he was.
He had a very, very good
He
game.
got involved. But I agree with you to the point where he can be a bit like a Mitchell, where he can fade in and out of games. But this game, he didn't fade in and out of.
Exactly. He was consistently there. But even if you look at, like, this was the most involved, in my opinion, he's looked. He had less than half the touches that Dylan Edwards had in this game.
Mm.
He still isn't uber involved. But this is almost the perfect amount he needs to be there because he still conserves all of his speed and playmaking ability for the moments where it matters, but still does some of the solid stuff which you want out of a fullback. This is what he needs to be.
He got 3.
He got 3 tries.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's by doing what a fullback is supposed to do, right?
Yeah,
So
he
that
played-
happened, whatever else.
Yeah, he played very, very well.
I don't think there were too many weak spots on the Dolphins, as the score would suggest.
Yeah. My only concern maybe is Tom Gilbert. I don't think's returned in quite the way you would hope.
Well,
He's a little bit underdone.
Yeah.
I think back to other players that's happened to, like, for instance, Lukey, when he came back from his ACL. He was slow to get going, but he ended up being really, really good. And he just does his ACL again.
And yeah, you even think about it, Gilbert has been basically potentially injured for the last, year and a half.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
There is reason for him to be not match fit.
Yeah, he'll be there soon, I think. He'll bring his mumble back again. I mean, look,
Hope so.
Cohen Hess is a person who came
He's
back
doing
from
well.
his
Yeah.
injury and is hitting the ground pretty hard.
Yeah.
But so just give Gilbert a little bit. He's a bit young still. You know, he's got to work his.
Like 24.
Yeah, 23, 24.
He came through up here in 21. He would have been 19, 20. So
Yeah.
probably 20, 24.
Yeah, he's still. It's hard, right? This is a major injury.
Yeah.
It's not like
Especially all the crap that happened after as well with like the blood clots and
Yeah.
stuff.
It's not fun, right? And he will get that to it.
We're not talking about Tom Gilbert. Flagler was the nerve one.
Like,
Yeah.
is he
So, yeah.
gonna play again?
We don't know.
I don't know.
You know, but yeah, Gilbert, he'll get there. I think. I thought Avarillo was excellent.
Yeah, I was going to say, I brought up Avarillo before. I thought he had his best game in probably a couple of years.
He's a damn good footballer.
He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
He was really, really good. The entire backline played very well. I think that Daniel Saifidi's really going under the radar in terms of good
How good has he been going? Yeah.
Right? Max Platt is the psychopath that he usually is. Jeremy Marshall King, I thought, had a very good game. The fine players are combining well. The forward pack is doing its job.
It's not a big forward back, but it's doing its job.
Yeah, this is the formula for this team to be a finals contender. That's good.
And having a not NRL premiership winning coach, but a Super League a premiership winning coach.
I'm telling you, the win last week for Christian Wolf will have done so much for his confidence when it comes to the squad and his ability as a coach.
I love him as a coach. I think he's a great coach.
He looked a lot more relaxed this week now, which is good.
And once again, it takes a little while for a team to warm to anybody. It's just the way it works, right? You've got to get used to their style because they had 2 years of Bennett, and Wolf is definitely not Wayne Bennett, right? So they've had to adjust their Wolf style. They've had people like Nicarima out and now coming in. So I think, and we were saying last week that Nicarima would have been better for the run, even though they won last week. He was better for that run and the one before. He was excellent.
Absolutely.
On Thursday night. So yeah,
and Isaiah Cattell is playing the house right now.
I tell you what, he's a very, very good
Here's the thing. Penrith are doing badly. Mitch Moses is only just coming back from his foot injury. Adam Reynolds is too old. He's probably retired from that football. Is Isaiah Cattell a smoky for the New South Wales team? He is, because he came up through the Penrith system.
Right.
He could be a smoky.
He's playing well enough.
He's playing well enough. I'm very interested to see how some of these origin positions play out, because those conversations can start now.
Yeah, we just have to be aware that it's a big jump to go from club to origin.
Obviously.
So that doesn't mean he can't do it. I mean, he's played for his country, so I mean, he should be able to manage it. Well.
And I guess speaking of origin positions as well, I think Hammer has a good shot at being the fullback right now, because Walsh and Ponga are both playing like bustards, and AJ Brimson's playing 5'8" right now.
Yeah.
So unless you want to chuck Philip Sally back there as fullback, he's injured, and he's a Kiwi.
Yeah.
So
I just think that he played for New Zealand, which means he can't play for Queensland.
this is going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
One guy who won't be playing Origin, hopefully, because A, he's a New South Welshman, and B, had one of the all-time brain snaps I've ever seen, Jack Bostock. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I don't understand that.
Hold on the ball, Jack.
Don't kick it back into the field of play.
Now, he was trying to kick it out. Went off the side of his foot and went across the field to where Moses Leota landed on it.
Let it roll out.
It wasn't Leota, wasn't it?
It was no.
Then you get a 20-minute time. You don't just
It's weird. That's what I do with big
It was either A, going to go out, or B, he could have just planted it with his finger hand.
Exactly. Do anything that isn't
That's what he did, yes. That was funny. We have to have some funny NRL sometimes, and that was a funny
I'm going to be on the blooper reel at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dolphins win again. Penrith lose again. I imagine they're a bit like this.
Oh no! We suck again!
And yeah, we can move on to Friday now.
Yes.
Saints Titans.
The time's bad.
As per program. This is exactly how
What is happening to the Titans?
they're doing the same thing they do every year. This is how the Titans have been for the better part of a decade now. It's extremely frustrating because
Is Taylor Kinney that important to them?
you have to think so, right?
Because since he's been out, they've lost it badly twice in a row.
Although, I will say, I don't think Keanu Keeney stops them conceding 38 points.
No, I don't.
Maybe they score a bit more, but
Yeah.
there's something going on with the defense, like there has been for, like I said, the better part of a decade now.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good in this game.
Yeah.
But for St. George, yeah, for the Dragons, but one player that can hold his head up is David
Oh,
Fafita.
he had a phenomenal game. He was so good. I was so happy to see him play to what we know his ceiling is. That was great.
He's got to do it more than 1 week out of 4.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Run off a short kick. It's really good.
Yeah, and the big thing, because you look at how Fafita's been playing the last few years, it's like the low effort stuff. Like he'll take maybe the first run of a set or the last run of a set because it's like the establishing or the one where everyone's tired so he can make a bunch of meters. He was taking runs on like the second and third hit-ups, which is something we haven't seen in a while. That shows the effort is there.
I think Des Hamel put a rocket up in
So he's got rocking up the rest of the team now. It's just poor. Yeah, Fafita
really.
Fafita was good. I thought Jaden Campbell also played very, very well.
He tried his best up behind a beaten pack, but
I don't know how the Titans pack gets beat.
Tino didn't get 10 for 10, right? That was didn't help them very much.
Tino was suspended for this.
Oh no, he was. It was last week. He was sorry.
So yeah, that's fair. But you still have Mo and Regan and Furmore and Randall and all these sorts of guys. Joel was there as well.
Firm was good. but there's not
They
too
have, a
many
good,
floating like.
they have a good forward pack. I don't know how they get dominated by the Dragons pack of all teams.
Yeah, I mean,
Who is there?
Jaden Stewart.
James Stewart, there's Luch.
Yep, who comes off the bench.
David Clemmer. Like,
One of the world's oldest forwards. Yeah, I know.
it's really very, very strange how they were so dominated in this game. And it's not good.
It's not, and of course, then they had points put on them by probably not the best back line in the competition.
Well, no, it's a half combo of Flanagan and Ilias who put on 38 points. It's not good.
I mean, they do have
Oh,
at their
God.
disposal. They do have Caleb Woodstone. They do have a premier centre, and they do have some good players outside them. But yeah, the halves combo, New South Wales halves, everyone.
Yep. Speaking of good outside backs on the Dragons, I thought Moses Dooley was excellent.
Oh, he's actually done really well this year.
I thought, yeah, he's good.
Really
He's
good.
flown under the radar, especially because of some of the senses that have come out of, like, well, there's always going to be behind, like the Stephen Crichtons and your Herbie Farnworths and those sorts of guys. Dooley's probably only the tier below. He's a very strong player.
He's big, he's strong, he's fast. What you need,
He's got good ball playing as well, which has lacked a couple of years now.
You need in a centre.
It's what you need in the centre, exactly. He's a perfect complement to what Valentine Holmes brings.
Yeah.
And they work outside the experience of Clint Gutherson. So
And Gutho, I thought, was actually very good on the
he's been good. He's been a good signing for them.
Yeah.
I guess we'll.
I'm not a big Gutho fan, but he has been pretty good this year. So that's really
And also, random really good season from Christian Tuipulotu for some reason.
I like him.
I really like him. He brought back the celebration.
Yes, I noticed that.
Good to see someone defying Shane Flanagan anyway.
I don't think you can coach that out of players. Players are going to do
They
that
do
if they,
something for themselves, right?
it's not like the NFL where you can get in trouble.
Unless it's something overtly like terrible. You don't get any punishment for it. Let them have some fun.
Yeah.
You encourage people to have celebrations for a month of the year.
Yeah.
Why not just let them do it for the rest of the time?
Well, if they feel like they want to, why not? I mean, I don't really
Coach it.
The George team of old had people like Blacklock and Mundine who would do the forward flips and whatever else when they scored and stuff like that. You don't see people. I mean, Reece Walsh.
Ferguson did it once.
Blake did.
People should have
And
back
for a lot of the fun stuff, like you don't see anyone doing like repeated ones like Greg Inglis used to do with the Goanna.
Yeah.
You don't see anyone do that anymore. Which is very sad in mine.
It is sad. I mean, even though it was against the Cowboys, I enjoyed the Mark Riddell one where he scores to try and jumps over and claps himself. But
That
was
was cool.
quite good. It was against our team, and that's fine, but it was still funny.
Exactly. Like, it's just, I think you need to let players have their fun and do their own thing at some point.
And don't let it go ridiculous.
Obviously, you need to keep it in check a little bit, but within reason, I think it's fine for players to do essentially whatever they want to do.
We're trying to get him to put his face into his mouth or something.
I remember that. But anyway, back to the actual game. I thought we brought up Gutho, Moses Dooley. I think that Toby Couchman's been excellent this year.
Yeah.
He's been so good. Right now, based on how the New South Wales forward stocks are looking, I think he could be at least in the extended squad. I think he's been playing excellently.
It'll be interesting to see what Laurie Daly does. Does he stick with the team that did well, apart from those who are injured, obviously?
Yeah.
Does he stick with the team that did so well last year, or does he change it up a little bit? I mean, he's a different coach to it.
It's going to be very interesting to see what changes get made, especially because of what players are in form and what players are not in form right now. It's half of the people from last year.
Yeah, it should be interesting anyway. And the Queenslanders have a lot less to choose from, so it's not quite as hard a choice for Billy Smith.
Yeah.
Queensland could just blow them out 3-0 because Laurie Daly's record.
That's not going to happen. He was the one who broke up the dynasty. What do you?
No, you know what broke up the dynasty was Matt Scott and Cooper Cronk getting injured in the
It was Cooper Cronk getting injured. But anyway, I also think Dylan Egan coming off the bench, I think, has been phenomenal for them, especially because it pushes Leilua to the bench, who has the versatility to play essentially the entire forward pack.
Yeah.
So I would prefer
even in centres if necessary.
Exactly. I think it's better to have Luch coming off the bench where you can put him wherever you need him to go.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good decision on Flanagan's part. It's rough reading for the Titans right now. They need Keeney back badly.
Even Gallen's prediction is looking less and less likely at this point.
Do we think Adler is under any pressure right now?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
No, I don't think so yet.
He needs a few. I think he needs like another year.
NRL is a very cutthroat business.
I think if the Gold Coast is still looking like this in about 3 months' time, then he might start feeling a bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put the pressure on Todd Payton, and the Cowboys have turned it around, right? It could be the same thing. I mean, the Gold Coast could completely turn it around and start winning games.
I love watching them play. They're one of the best teams to watch.
2015 on.
No, we're going to talk about that later. Friday night, Broncos Chooks. I hate both these teams.
Yeah.
I cannot make heads or tails of either of them. And this game was the perfect congealment of all of that. This game was sad, and it was frustrating,
And the Roosters won.
and the Roosters won.
Yeah.
So
I didn't tip them. I tipped Brisbane like an idiot.
I don't know what to think of it. They won despite themselves for half this game, I reckon. They made 13 errors. They conceded 8 penalties. It wasn't disciplined by any stretch of the imagination.
No, but they welcomed back a couple of players, which kind of helped a little bit. And
They're still missing Lindsay Collins.
They got rid of Ted Townsend for it.
Hugo Savala. Who would have guessed? His kicking game was good. His kicking game was excellent.
Yes, I think Chad may not be playing too many more games in the NRL.
If Savala gets injured, I can't see him making his way back into the team unless Savala completely falls off a cliff.
But look, it was. I think the Roosters wanted it more.
Yeah,
That's basically what it was.
I think that's the perfect way to summarize this game.
They seem to have a little bit more verve. They seem to be playing with a little bit more energy than the Broncos. Even though they were making errors, they were defending those errors, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Brisbane couldn't make the most of it. So
Oh, they were good.
Payne Haas even was quite quiet.
It was very quiet.
For the last 2 weeks.
When did Ramadan finish? Maybe that's what it was. He always goes ham during Ramadan and then just kind of returns to being human. So maybe, I don't know.
But yeah, the Broncos did not do that well. The continuation of Reece Walsh being not great.
I'm getting really concerned. I'm getting very, very concerned for Reece Walsh.
The
longer and longer this goes on, the less and less likely he's going to turn it around, which is bad for Brisbane.
It is bad for Brisbane. As good as their halves are.
I don't think Reynolds was operating at 100% this week. I don't think
he went off early anyway. Was that last week?
That was last week where he went off with his hamstring thing.
Yeah.
I don't think he's 100%. There's no way.
Ben Hunt is trying to carry it at the moment, and you can't do that.
No.
You need your whole team firing. Tony Staggs was fine. I thought he was okay.
This is good.
But
Look, we talked about how Payne Haas was quiet, but he and Pat Carrigan combined for over 300 metres.
I don't know that was Carrigan, though, wasn't it? I mean,
It was roughly even.
oh, okay.
They made,
Carrigan has made a very good fist of front row, so he was
I think between them they combined for 65 tackles and 2 misses. So they were still fine. I thought
quite for, I say quite for Haas's standards is what I'm saying, because I think he got 2 offloads or something when he's normally offloading his
He went in for 160 metres and had 2 offloads. What a disaster! He needs to be dropped.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
my fantasy.
That's people insane Payne Haas. That's arguably a disappointing game from
You
him.
expect it all the time, and that's the problem. You shouldn't.
It shouldn't, absolutely, but when it becomes the new norm for a player, it kind of feels a little bit disappointing. I guess on the Rooster side, James Tedesco is playing well.
He's turned back the clock in the last couple of years.
I think we could get Origin James Tedesco.
I think Origin, he'll be back for Origin because Dylan Edwards is not ready.
And the Panthers are not performing well, so you always steer away from players in bad teams. Who else is there?
That's really
Trebojevic, if he's healthy. Mitchell, maybe?
maybe Mitchell.
Gutherson? Clint
I
Gutherson?
don't think so. I think Origin is past Gutho, unfortunately, but
One game of Origin.
yeah, no.
In the census.
Woo! Well, that's playing people out of position.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about either of these.
I think Tedesco is probably going to be the New South Wales fullback at
Right now,
at
yeah.
this point.
If I had to pick them now, he would definitely be the number one.
But Victor Radley was back. Was nice to see.
Radley was back. He was good. I thought Nat Butcher played very well.
Yes,
I thought he was very, very good.
he had his best game because last week he was pretty.
I think prop forward's probably his best position because for as much as he's tall and lanky enough to be in the second row, but I don't think he's quite mobile enough.
No,
I I don't think his ball playing quite fits the 13 these days. So I think Prop is his best role, and they have a few good ones.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I think Nafahu White's been excellent. He's been so good.
He's been
since
their
starting role.
best forward.
Oh, easy.
And
Easy.
it's not particularly close.
He's been very, very good.
I thought Dom Young had a relatively good game, but he's still low on his.
He had a couple of bad defensive reads, but I thought
Yeah.
this was the best he's looked in probably a month.
Yeah. So hopefully he's getting his confidence back a little bit.
Well,
For the Roosters' sake,
I
anyway.
think there's competition for spots in that in Roosters backline because you're going to have Billy Smith is suspended next week, but as soon as he's back, you've got Marky Mark, Dom Young, Robert Toyer, Billy Smith all fighting for position. So it could. I don't know who's going to get dropped first. It's going to be a matter of who plays the worst game the earliest.
Yeah, I would suggest it's probably going to be Smith because I think they'll get Marky Mark back in as soon as possible.
Marky Mark should be on the wing and they should drop Dom Young. That would be my way I would do it because Robert Toyer's been playing too well.
Yeah,
We know Billy Smith, when he's healthy, is a gun. He's a great
That's
player.
why he scored.
He's so good.
And look, instant. I don't know how he did
You
that.
can't find many people in the NRL who can do that.
And he's very tall, and he managed to get it onto the ground and went over the dead ball line. So it
He's
was
a tall, quick, big centre.
yeah. And he loves his footy well. Looks like he's enjoying himself. So that's
He very rarely gets to play because he's always injured.
yeah.
So if he stays healthy, I can definitely see him being a mainstay in that backline. It's a matter of who for.
Well, so well done to the Chooks.
Good job for the
Roosters.
Roosters.
It's starting to put some good.
Doing this.
I know.
Both of these teams are going up and down like the waves.
I don't know what's happened to the Broncos, but anyway, they came out of the blocks at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and they're slowly.
Revenge for round one, I suppose, on the Roosters' part.
It was good. Look, I don't like I say, I'm not a big fan of either team, but it was a good game for the Roosters to have a win. And like I said, it was all energy. It wasn't necessarily skill, but they had a lot of energy, and they kept that energy up the whole game. And Brisbane just couldn't bust them. They just didn't look like busting them.
No, not really. Their attack is very stagnant.
Yeah, I
right
don't
now.
know what's happening with them. They've got attacking weapons all over the park. Colbo, Rob Walsh, you got
Right, Stags.
Stag, yes.
Excellent players.
Yeah. You know, who's the guy to Farnworth's place?
Anna?
Marin was he playing?
No. Jesse Arthur's is
Jesse
still
Arthur's, he's excellent. I don't like his hair, but he's excellent.
He's leading the league in tries right
Yeah.
now. So.
Look, he's probably one of Brisbane's best players.
Yeah.
The whole
Behind
side.
Haas and Carey.
Well, obviously, behind
There's not much else really.
No.
So
So good luck to the Roosters. I don't know who they play this week.
I
I
don't
know we'll
know.
talk about it in a minute anyway.
Yeah. Look, Brisbane's still sitting third on the ladder right now, but I don't know how long it's going to stay that
the
way.
start, right? But they've
Yeah,
been a bit wobbly recently. Yeah.
They're just very inconsistent right now. So if they can level it out, I'm fine with them. But they need to get it quickly.
Yes, Madge is good.
He's got some work cut out for him. We still knew he would.
Yeah.
But
It's like anything. A new coach takes over and they go well for the first little bit. And then it can
you always see this when the coach gets fired in the middle of the year. It's like some 60% of the time the team wins that. It's very strange.
But yeah, and I don't know. Brisbane, you usually say if Brisbane are going well, the NRL's going well.
This is true.
But yeah, they just need to find something.
Yeah, both these teams need to find some consistency.
I don't particularly care because I don't like.
Yeah, I know you don't like either of them. I just like when, like I said before, I like when good football is being played.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see if either of these teams can step up and like actually fully establish themselves as a top 8 team.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Two other top 8 teams, Sharks Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
Playing in Darwin, no, not Darwin, Perth.
Perth.
The first was the Perth doubleheader, and yeah,
It was a game of football.
it was definitely a game of football. I nailed the scoreline, by the way, 24-18. I nailed it. Very happy about that.
Well done.
Yay! But
It
yeah,
was a bad game of football.
it was a game that Cronulla should have won by more and didn't, which is going to be the story of their season. It seems like.
They're not going to. Look, they're inconsistent at the moment.
Yeah, just Sam Stonestreet was good. He played a good game. That's about it. He was the only real standout on Cronulla, I think.
Trindle pulled the
They-
pulled the things out of his bag.
I still don't think they know who's running this team,
Yeah, and that's part of the problem.
and that's part of the problem.
Trindle seems to still be the more creative of the two.
Yeah, he seems to be the halfback, even though he's wearing the sticks. It's very strange.
Yeah.
They need to definitively say
They have the best forward pack in the competition. Why are they not winning all the time?
Dad and Fanua Blake is still playing well. They've got arguably the best second row pairing with Nikita and Wilson,
Right.
who are great.
They've got good bench forwards as well.
Forwards, it's a good team. They
Yeah.
should be playing a lot better than they are.
So,
But we've been saying that for how long now? Maybe this is just what they are.
Kennedy was good.
Well, Kennedy was played fairly well, I thought. It's just a very standard Cronulla performance where it was just,
Slowest full field drive in the city.
Yeah, he looked very slow, but that's still
not overly quick.
No, he looked fastest. But look, well done to the Sharks. Manly, well, we suck.
Well, they don't have turbo. This is the excuse for
And they don't travel.
They don't travel very well. No one travels to Perth. Never.
You know.
So I can understand being a little bit
I
perturbed.
get it. Well, I mean, they're 3 hours behind as far as the jet lag. The jet lag. You actually have jet lag in one country.
That's how good we are.
Yep.
How good. But yeah, it's just that I'm not overly concerned about their attack because, they don't have probably the best attacking fullback in the competition, being Tom Trbojevic. But
You would think, no, hear me out on this one.
here we go.
You would think that by now they would be used to this.
Yes. Well, yeah, they are used to it because they don't completely fall apart like they used to. They're actually still competitive. And I love Lehigh Hopewadi. I think he's great. He's not Tom Trbojevic. I love Tolu Kola. You put him back there. He's not Tom Trbojevic.
It's not, but Tom hasn't even been Tom this year. He had one good game and the rest have been pretty average. I mean,
It's the forward pack that really confuses me. Outside the Homole Kawatu, who's,
the best second rower in the comp.
easy. It's a really weird system they have going. I don't get what Jazz Tavanga's purpose is in this team. Because they play him for 20, 25 minutes at the beginning of the game at hooker, then bring Jake Simpkin on to play out the rest of the game, and he never comes back on, despite the fact that he played a lot of 13 when he was at New Zealand.
Kind of similar to the Dylan Walker.
It almost reminds it's more like what Parramatta are doing with the Jermaine Hopgood Riley Smith combination thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, and I don't know why they're trying it. I think you need to either fully put your stock in on Jake Simpkin until Lockie Croker comes back, or play Tavanga for a decent amount of time.
He's actually quite good.
Whether bring him on for a second stint in the middle or not, just
Yeah.
play him for more than 25 minutes.
Yeah.
He's too good for that.
Yeah, he's a good player. He should be getting more time.
Because
Manly,
the minutes priority player in this pack is what? Takanaho,
I imagine,
which is concerning.
he's the oldest guy.
The oldest guy, you have like your Sipleys and your Alliers, who last year performed very well.
Sibley's an excellent
He's a
player.
great player.
Yeah,
And look, I like Jake Trbojevic. He's a bit slow.
boring.
I think you should almost put him in the middle and have Nathan Brown be the starting 13.
Maybe.
That's what I would do.
Because Jake, he's not fast enough.
He's not fast enough for that anymore.
And he's not a ball player, so he shouldn't be a lot.
He's a tackle bot. He should be in the middle of the field,
Yeah.
just making tackles and not missing anything.
Which is what he generally does. Although being 13, he'll miss more because you can't let him
Yes,
do well.
he should be just smack in the middle of the field, put the number 8 on his back,
Yeah,
and just let him tackle for 60 minutes a game. I don't know what Seabold is doing. Maybe the DCE thing is weighing on them a bit.
yeah. Well,
Maybe.
I
That's
don't
the only
know.
thing I can think.
but it's funny, right? These are professional athletes, right? I know that it's hard to separate your feelings from your game, but they have to learn how to do that, right? You're not playing for DCE. You're not playing for whatever. You're playing for your fans, right? You don't, just play.
Yeah,
That's what annoys me.
that's fair. I guess the counter argument is that these guys spend a lot of time together. Like they're pretty much with each other nigh on every day, playing out of their skin on weekends to, keep their jobs almost. So I can definitely understand where you can get the emotion surrounding one of your players deciding, hey, I just don't want to be here for much longer. And we've seen that now, which we'll talk about later.
The only thing is, the difference with Daly is he did see out his 10-year contract quite comfortably.
Yeah, he did do that.
Where he goes from here, we don't know. We still don't know.
He's going to the Roosters.
Down it.
He's going to the Roosters.
Come on,
He's either going to the Roosters or the Dolphins. It's going to be one of those
I
two.
guess we'll find
Or
out.
maybe like the
Up
The
here.
Titans.
Up here.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Coming up here.
Please go to the Titans.
Yeah.
Daily, please go to the Titans.
Coming up here.
Please.
Go back
Coming
to
up here.
Kieran Foran.
Kieran Foran will be retired by the end of this year. He's injured too much and he's too old. And based on how the Titans halves combo is performing, which is not, you chuck Brimson back at the number 1, maybe, or you put Brimson in the. I said this in the preseason.
14.
I say you should put him in the 14, and your halves combo is Campbell 6 and DCE 7, maybe for next year,
King at 1, yeah.
and keep Kenny at
Who's
fullback. Chris Randall, Sam Verrills, the guy who's there this year.
Pretty average, but
Unless you want to put Kieran Foran there,
yeah, well, he could probably do an okay job. He's got a kick as well.
that
So
would be a disaster. He
yeah,
would
he
make
doesn't tackle.
He would
very
make one tackle and his shoulder would explode.
well.
So,
Michael Morgan, is he? Or
well, that's exactly what happened at the beginning of this year.
yeah.
So, yeah, I don't.
Yeah, we're in trouble at this point.
I don't think they're in a lot of trouble. It's a little concerning. Like I said, the forward pack is the big thing. If they can fix that, they're going to be fine.
Well, you know, the scary part is with the home where that they're normally unbeatable. They got flogged last week.
Yeah, that was Melbourne.
Yeah,
I take no stock in someone losing by a lot to Melbourne because that's going to happen a lot this year.
anyway, but they don't lose at Brookvale like that. I don't think they've lost to Brookvale like that for a long, long time.
Yeah, so it's just. I mean, yeah, it's 2 on the trot now. They've lost to the Seagulls. It's a little bit concerning,
If
but
they lose another one this week, they'll be
I'm not a DEFCON 4.
they'll be in a little bit of trouble. We'll see how we go.
And Cronulla will just keep winning like this and not be convincing.
And losing against really good teams.
They just need to. They really need to raise their ceiling by figuring out who's running this team
It's a bit of a mess.
sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Yes. 2 teams that aren't really messes right now.
Yeah.
Panthers and the Cowboys. 3 in a row.
It's 2015 all over again.
There are some parallels for that, but
Yeah.
We beat the Raptors round 6.
we didn't have Jonathan Thurston kicking 2 field goals to beat Melbourne in the 4th game. So
Sorry, recording software screwed up for a second. Where were we at? Bunnies Cowboys. That's where we were at.
we were.
3 in a row.
Yeah.
It's 3 in a row.
But it was a very bad game.
Both first games were very bad.
That was a bad game.
It's the first time.
So,
I think that's in the second half.
look, for as much as I am happy the Cowboys won, I'm not overly enthusiastic right now.
I am Nostradamus. Jackson Purdue might have the most tries this year.
Don't worry. But he's playing very well. Again. I'm still. I said this last week, and I'm probably going to say it for a while. After the first 2 weeks, we were all calling for his head. He didn't get one. Well, you would say that he probably should have been dropped for Labour as well.
Labour couldn't have been dropped for Labour because Labour was injured.
I do think that if he was healthy, he would have been dropped for Tom Chester by now. But luckily for him,
Tom Chester is not.
Tom
good.
Chester's good. He's good.
He's not good. He is bad.
I digress. Jackson Purdue's playing very well.
Yes, I think he formed a pretty good combo with Murray Talangi.
Yes, it's good to see that working now.
That random fucking break in the middle of the defensive line was insane.
Yeah.
It's like just strutted around and then just
Look,
sprinted.
I'll get this out of the way now because it's going to be a discussion. It's been a discussion since the game happened. It was not a hip drop. It was not a hip drop. The Cowboys were very, very lucky to get away with that.
Does it actually change the game a lot? Probably not.
I mean, possibly.
Well, not really. It was
Because,
they
what?
score a goal from it. I mean, that's all they did.
Yes, but it's the Cowboys gaining 2 points as opposed to the Rabbits having the ball. So,
Well, we can argue that till everybody's blue in the face. It had sort of the I guess the ideals of a.
it had like the issue. Look, I've looked into the actual nomenclature of what the rule is. So it says that there's the 3 indicators, which is the grip, the twist, and the fall on the legs. The actual wording says for the twist that they use the grip to twist their body and fall on the legs. I don't think you can say he used the grip to twist when A, he was already facing the direction he was, and B, by the time his hands had landed on Scott Drinkwater, he was off the ground. So I don't think you can say that he actually used the grip on the back of Scott Drinkwater to twist his body and land on his legs. And didn't put him in a dangerous position at all either. So I think, look, we'll take it. Cowboys very rarely get thrown a bone from the referees. I'll take it, but I'm not happy about it.
Look, I would argue that it has enough elements of the hip drop for it to be called. You know, I mean, they have some.
Although I think it's pretty telling that I think yesterday the bunker official responsible for that decision was dropped. So take that for what you will.
These are the things that can happen in the heat of competition, I suppose. At times, it looked bad because the way he ended up, he was on the back of Scott's leg.
Yes, he did end up there.
And get holding him by the shoulders.
I get why it was called.
Yeah. And look, 50-50s, like you say, generally don't go the Cowboys' way, so we will take it. And I'm not unhappy about it because I had so many bad calls against them in the years that one or two going for them. You know, good luck to them. You know,
The situation is different, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not in final games, but you know, I thought the first half was very poor from both teams.
There were so many. This was the Cowboys thing for a lot of this year, is that they will create opportunities and then 5 seconds after creating them, completely blow them.
Yeah.
And it's very frustrating to watch. If they can just convert some of those, they win some of the games by 15, 16 plus points.
Yeah,
especially the Raiders game.
Yeah, that's the one probably by 20. Yeah.
How many errors did Scott Drinkwater have in those sorts of situations?
Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, he was saved by the penalty for one of them, but
he was poor.
He was
very poor.
I mean, the reason he's there is because he's good in offense generally. Okay, he's had a few iffy moments defensively, but he's been generally pretty good offensively. But making errors at crucial times doesn't help his case.
It was good. Reese Robson.
Best game of the year.
That was insane.
A long shot.
That was not very high bar, though.
14 runs for 192 metres.
This is the Reese Robson we've known for the past couple of years. This is the origin level hooker.
Yeah.
And it's great to see him play like this.
I know it was 12 for 100.
It was a lot.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. It was Tamalolo was 14.
Ran for 135.
So it was 9 or 10 runs for that. And
great tries. He had 41 tackles for one miss. He played excellently.
Yeah, he's been a bit
out of form
for the first few weeks, but last week and this week showed a bit of a turnaround. This week especially.
I hope so.
Tamalolo was excellent.
How good was that? That was vintage stuff from Jason Tamalolo.
Just a lazy 192 metres.
Maybe that's a big run and drops the ball.
Well, yeah,
that
was one error that he made.
That was sad.
The only error he made during the whole game. I'll grant that.
He only missed one tackle as well, so
I'll grant that for 200 metres.
Yeah,
he was great.
He was excellent. It's good to see he's being used properly.
Yeah, they're going about it the exact right way.
Cohen Hess was good when he came on.
I thought Griffin Neem played well.
Yes.
It seems like a lot of the team is starting to find form at the same time. And that's good.
That augurs well for the Cowboys.
I just hope that bye doesn't kill all the momentum.
No breakage of bones or injuries to hamstrings or whatever.
We've got all of that out of the way in the preview. It's all done now.
Burns, unfortunately.
That's about it.
Been pretty good.
Yeah, Myers picked up in the past.
I think coming off the bench might be his best thing because he can really.
No, he did come off the bench because McIntyre.
Yeah, I think him going up against tired defence is actually pretty scary for the defence because he's got a good step with his run. He's still a big enough body to cause issues, and he's a ball player.
Especially when the mentality surrounding forwards is having either one or both second rowers play 80 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you can run Nana out there 25 minutes into the first half, fresh legs, good footwork, against a tiring second row, it's a recipe for very, very good football.
Yeah.
This is what's been playing the past few years.
I mean, the first half was better. The second half was way better. Both teams must have copped a rocket for how poor they were in the first half.
For both in very different ways.
Yeah.
Peyton would have blown up at them and Wayne Bennett would have just been like, what was that? I guess speaking of the Rabbits, there's not much outside Jai Gray's good.
I think he's very good.
Jai Gray's good. I thought Latrell played well for as much as he can anyway in his second game in about a while.
And out of position.
Playing in the halves. I thought he did about as well as you could expect of him.
My question is, why didn't they put a ready-made 5'8"?
Well, they don't have one.
They do.
It's not Lewis Dodd.
No, it's not.
It's a halfback. He's a halfback. It's not Jaden Sullivan. Who do they have?
just the guy that played at 5/8 New South Wales.
Cody Walker's injured.
Not Cody Walker.
Oh, Jack Whiteley. Right. No.
He's a ready-made 5/8.
He doesn't pass. You can't have a 5'8" that doesn't pass the ball.
He's a really
He played
the Cowboys do.
You say he played Origin. He played centre at the Origin level.
But he used to play 5/8.
He played 5'8" at the Raiders,
Yeah, right.
sure. And he played well.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that anymore.
I don't know that he's a centre either, to be fair. Maybe he should go to fullback.
Over Jay Gray.
Well,
No. Jay Gray's the best fullback in the competition right now.
although Tedesco might push him.
I wonder who's at the top of the tally.
Remind me how Kalen Ponga won playing half a season of football.
I'm not concerned about the Rabbits at all. This was kind of going to happen with, missing your two main halves.
Of course, and it was going to be hard for them to overcome a Cowboys team that was starting to get some form.
Yes.
And had some momentum on their side. So
Keep it going.
Look, please. Thank you for winning, boys.
3-3 heading into the bye is a lot better than I thought it was going to be after.
Yeah, that's right. You were saying at the start that they could feasibly be 9-6.
Yeah.
But that hasn't happened, and thank goodness for that.
Yeah, thank you.
I actually think the Brisbane game was the tournament, even though they lost, because they actually played quite well. Yeah,
Which has been the calling card for the past month, and it worked more often than it hasn't.
yeah, and that was really, really good. So they got a bye, which will probably put them up 1 or 2 spots on the table.
They're going to the Titans after the bye, which could be a get-right game for this offense. So I guess we'll see.
Hopefully.
Here too.
And it's up to
Up
you.
in Council, which
We'll see how it
it's
goes.
going to be like 5,000% humidity, which
It's
is
going to be stupid. That game's going to be very, very strange. It's sort of like this.
yes.
But yeah,
Well done, boys. And
it's a matter of my question for the Cowboys is how much more improvement do you see in this team? Because we know how high the ceiling is. They're a top 4 team when they're on their day. Can they reach that? I don't know.
Drinkwater needs to be better than what he was.
Drinkwater can get back to his 2022 form.
Here's the good thing. I can't believe I forgot to say this. This was Jake Clifford's first quiet game of the year. And he wasn't bad.
No.
He was just fine.
Yeah.
He did his job.
Yeah.
Which is what he needs to do to facilitate the likes of Dean and Drinkwater, Robson,
Yeah.
all these sorts of guys.
And just utilise that boot of his to get him out of trouble. when
Exactly.
necessary.
It's so important for a forward pack that for as much experience and decent play as in it, can struggle to make meters at times. So if you have someone who can kick you out of trouble, it's immense.
To definitely do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there is a very high ceiling for this team. Can they reach it?
Hopefully.
I just don't know.
We will see.
We will see.
As time goes on.
One thing we did see was the Raiders beating the piss out of the Eels. Yikes.
So bad.
I'm sorry, Eels. Stop taking games to Darwin.
You can't win in Darwin.
Win in
You can't
Darwin.
win in Darwin. You couldn't beat the Raiders in Darwin.
Oh, that's why this was the non-Sydney round.
There was nothing played.
Nothing played in Sydney.
Yeah, this was bad. So
Yeah,
does this game mean that the Eels can't win the premiership for next year as well?
Second 50.
Maybe?
I don't think it mattered how many points they get against them. They're not going to win the
The Eels,
competition.
they were bad. And the Raiders took advantage of playing a very bad opposition.
So I think something I forgot to mention the Cowboys. They always win against good teams, but they always lose against bad teams.
I find that extremely wrong because they have lost to Brisbane
They lost to the Eels last
and
year.
Cronulla.
They lost to the
Yeah,
Eels
but that was
last year.
last.
So we're talking this year.
We know last year doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
We know that.
This year.
Well, I
Right.
mean,
The Panthers are in 16th. We know last year doesn't mean jack. The Roosters are in 16th. Last year doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So it's not. Yeah. But
Yeah, that was bad.
there's not a heck of a lot to say except the Eels were bad. The Raiders were very good.
This is going to be There's going to be a period of about 6 weeks from now where Joe Tarpany is the best forward because he does this every year. He always has this random purple patch where he'll run for 180 meters, play 60 minutes, and have 5 offloads a game. He'll do Payne Haas numbers.
Yeah.
and then
So-
we'll just stop.
Keep watching that. Hudson Young's in the middle of his purple patch. He's been great, which is good for the Raiders.
This is the Raiders. Probably good for New South Wales as well, I imagine.
That's well the second rowers to choose from.
He played last year, I think, Young. So
Yes, he did. He got dropped for one of them, though, if I remember correctly.
Probably for like too many penalties or something.
Bad. The only weird thing that came out of this game for the Raiders was how they used Corey Horsburgh, because in the first half he was a man possessed. he was doing everything.
He always looks possessed.
Okay, fair. But he was the best forward on the park for that. The first 30 minutes he was on the field.
He's a redhead.
And then he came off, right? And then only came on with like 11 minutes left. Why?
Yeah.
Why is he only playing 45 minutes?
Well, I guess it didn't hurt.
I mean, it didn't hurt them at all, but
It hurt your fantasy.
they could have scored 60.
They may not have either. So
They may not have. Maybe he was just trying to mirror. No. Oh, I know what was happening. So we knew what happened last week with James Mraz and how he used Jermaine Hopgood. I think the exact same thing happened here, because in this game, Hopgood, I think, played the first 47 minutes straight or something, and we're all thinking, he's figured it out. And came off, and then come back on again for the rest of the game. So I wonder if Ricky Stewart was playing chicken with Hopgood and Horsburgh, saying, as soon as you bring Hopgood back on, I'm bringing Horsburgh on. And then Ricky Stewart blinked first and brought Horsburgh back on. Maybe. That's a very Ricky Stewart thing to do, in my opinion.
well, I guess they cancel each other out. So they do it.
I don't know what the Eels are doing. They're a disaster.
They're not playing football very well. That's what they're doing. What they're doing. Look, once again, their effort is there, but they just have no skill at the moment.
I think it's the contrary. I don't think the effort's there for 90% of the team. I think if you look at, like, who was the best player for Parramatta in this game? Exactly. If you can't pick out one person that was outstanding, at least effort-wise, there's a problem. He was good. Thought he was fine. It's hard to do.
Jimmy Paulo, I suppose, did what he could do.
He did fine. I thought Kautoga was okay. He's very solid defensively. I just think he needs to move around a little bit more in defense because he doesn't seem to chase the ball a lot when it comes to wanting to make tackles. He'll make a tackle and then move back from marker and stand 10 meters behind the play catching his breath. And that's not what you want to see from a second row who's playing 80 minutes a week. I thought Bailey Simonson was good in his first game.
Yeah, he tried hard.
He's always good. He's put on a lot of upper body size. He looks really big.
He's already fast, so that'll help.
And look, I get they're missing Zach Lomax, which hurts because he's a good player, but it doesn't make 50 points.
Even they might have lost by 40.
Maybe. Well, they lost by, 38? Maybe they lose by 28.
Yeah.
Yeah, Riles has no chance. He's completely stuck here.
And for that reason, his job won't be under pressure because...
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, they're playing without Mitch Moses, which you can, I guess, use as a defense for him.
To a point, but once again, Mitch doesn't stop 50 points being scored either.
No, but
He may have
maybe the Eels hold on to the ball a little bit more, which means the Raiders don't get the ball and they score less points that way. Maybe, but I don't think Mitch Moses can save this team right now.
No, they're in free fall at the moment, and there's not much they can do about it, unfortunately.
Yeah, we could have a spoon bowl reappearance for the Eels. I reckon this was not good. Who they're against in the spoon bowl is anybody's guess. It could be it could be Penrith.
Well, it could be,
and that would be a weird game because it's in the regular season that Parramatta always beat Penrith. So I have no idea what's going to happen. Will the Raiders keep trucking? They're going to keep doing their thing of winning random games and losing random games. It's a matter of how many they win and lose.
I don't know how many hairs Ricky's going to have on his head by the end of the year.
He still has hair on his head.
Yeah, he does. He's actually a good head of hair. For a guy his age. Maybe.
Another team that got pretty much blown out was the Warriors. They ran into a buzzsaw.
How good are Melbourne going?
Look, the defense you can say for the Warriors is that they lost James Fisher-Harris 11 minutes in and lost Charles Nickel-Klokstadler halfway through the game. That's the defense you can say for why they didn't really put up much of a fight here.
Well, they lost their
captain, right?
Captain and one of the better fullbacks in the competition.
Exactly.
Talk about my debate.
Yeah, you took the Warriors for this. Look, I think they probably would have lost anyway, but that didn't help. I guess we can go Melbourne side because there's not much to talk about on the Warriors side besides maybe Aaron Clark.
He was excellent.
I thought he played well.
He's a goer. He goes, punt to your fella.
Look, because he had to play extended minutes because of the Fisher-Harris thing, I thought he did fairly well.
He did quite well. So, a couple of their forwards were good. Their backs just didn't stand.
I thought Wayne Egan also played very well, but he always does. He's so consistent and so crafty around the ruck. I think he's quite good. I do as well. He could be a smoky for maybe 14. There's a lot of hooker options for New South Wales. I'm interested to see where Daly goes. Storm, Xavier Coates. How good is he? He is probably the form winger right now.
Yeah.
Man.
Until, I mean, they're playing without Warbrick.
It's without Will Warbrick. And the second half of this game was without Jerome Hughes again for the third time.
Yeah,
In 5 games, they get to pull Jerome Hughes.
This probably actually had an injury.
But yeah, they were just nursing his, what was it, the shoulder thing? It was a shoulder thing.
Yeah.
But they were up by 36 points at halftime, so, you know, you can do that when you're by 36 points.
On the bright spot for the Warriors, they won the second half.
To be fair, Parramatta won the second half. One game against Melbourne and still conceded 56 points.
Yeah, Melbourne don't care. They just won.
Melbourne don't care. They really don't care. They're waiting for someone to challenge them that isn't named the Dragons for some reason.
I don't see that.
This game makes less and less sense as the season goes on. It's a bit like
rain. I'm telling you, rain is the great leveler.
Yeah, it's a bit like last year, round 3, where the Tigers beat the pants off Cronulla, like 32-6 or something. That didn't even make any sense. There's always this one game where a bottom feeder beats a top flight team.
It was because it was at Leichhardt.
Oh yeah, well, that explains it. This was at
This was at Amy Park.
Oh, this was Amy Park, right? So
They
yeah,
always had enough. They got some good fans in Melbourne, though. So there was a lot of
fans everywhere.
Yeah,
I do like the
I
Warriors.
like the Warriors. I hope they can pick it up a little bit. It doesn't help when your main people get injured.
Yeah, Melbourne are just a well-oiled machine. They're just a great team performance. Because there's, like, besides Xavier Coates this week, who was probably the player of the round, really, there wasn't anyone else who overly stood out, which just proves, like, Stefano Utuikamanu, who was the marquee forward signing, ran for 90 metres.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't looking at him thinking, oh, yeah, that's an underwhelming game, because he still played well.
Yeah, he did.
It's just, they're an excellent team, right?
Yeah.
It's very, very good to watch them.
Fullback is going.
Pappenhausen's been great. Just please stay healthy.
Yeah. He has so far, and it's not like he slows down at all.
Maybe he sacrificed enough to the rugby league gods in the off-season to finally get a healthy season.
It's not like he's shirking his responsibilities. It's like trying to guard himself. He goes at a million.
He's going. Yeah, he's playing with full confidence now, which is excellent to see.
No, Melbourne are going to be hard to beat this year, as what I said at the start. So,
Come on, Cowboys, beat them, please.
However, a team that is not hard to beat right now is the Newcastle Knights.
They are a crap show.
It is bad.
It is really bad.
They cannot score points.
No.
The offense is anemic. It is
How
terrible.
many points they've scored in 4 matches is a kick. And it was a lucky bounce.
And it was a lucky bounce for Fletcher Sharp. Yeah. It's bad. I don't know. Kalen Ponga looks fundamentally broken right now. There was a play like late in the game because the Tigers were still in. The Knights were still in this with about 15 minutes to go. I thought because they can score points because we know they have the strike.
Mm.
So they have a scrum play. I think on the Tigers 30, they sweep to the right side. Kalen Ponga gets the ball. There's not much going. It's 2-on-2. So instead of doing his thing where he's the best footwork in the competition, stepping around, he tucks the ball.
I saw that. That was so bad.
That's not something a star player does.
No.
That's bad.
No,
that's a symptom that something is systemically wrong at this team right now. I don't like it. I really don't like it.
I feel for Ponga because I think he's just got too much pressure on him at the moment because there's nobody else.
What's he supposed to do? Greg Marju is terrible.
Yeah.
He is playing very badly. This is what Leo Thompson had a good game, and he's solid.
Where's his brother? You can't tell the difference.
Oh my word, they're looking the exact same.
The only difference, I think Leo
had a rat's tail.
Yeah.
They look the exact same. What is with Newcastle just signing twins all the time?
I don't know. It's confused everybody else.
I'm surprised both the Wateni-Zelezniaks weren't on this team at the same time.
Well, they at least weren't twins.
No, that's true. But yeah, it's bad. It's really bad.
On the West Tigers side, they're going really well.
Yeah.
Harry Buller he's a gun.
He's so good. I love how good he is.
Starford
great. I mean, he got sin bin, but he still played well. Terrell May is Terrell May for the 6th week in a row.
He's crazy.
He's unstoppable, isn't he? I do not understand what, I want to meet the architect who sculpted the perfect NRL forward and put him on the Tigers.
He's actually probably, and while we know how good Payne Haas is, I think Terrell May's been the form forward.
He's the form forward now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's been the most consistent by a landslide.
Yeah.
But also, his front row partner, Fonua Pole, is excellent. Like
He's a pretty cool bloke.
he
too,
ran,
so.
well, yeah, he's great. He played 53 minutes. He ran 15 times for 184 meters. He's so good.
Yeah.
I just,
And he always runs off the back.
and he's always off the back fence. He runs with so much
Like-
vim and
He reminds me
Off the back fence.
he reminds me a bit of like Leoffer and people like that. Who,
He reminds me of a different guy on the Tigers, Royce Hunt, who played very
oh,
well.
wow. He was a very good buy for them, right? And he's a big loss for Cronulla.
Yeah.
He he still reminds me so much of his uncle when he
They
when he's got his face.
look the exact same. Yeah, the Tigers keep winning.
They do.
They're playing well.
Good luck to them. Go Benji. I'm glad you finally got a team. However,
The team is in turmoil.
I guess we get the elephant in the room.
Let's get this out of the way now. I think the Lockie Galvin situation is nothing to do with Lockie Galvin. It's Isaac Moses. Because he has form as a player agent for doing this all the time. And I would argue that moving away from the Tigers is the worst thing Galvin could do for his career. Because you look at how the Tigers play, Lockie Galvin is the focal point. Despite Luai being the one on big money and wearing the 7, Galvin is the one running this team. They built this team around him. And whatever reason Galvin decides, nah, I don't like this, I'm leaving. It makes no sense to me. I do not understand.
He's off $1 million a season too.
Yeah, exactly. The thing that happened was that
So I was reading there was no talks.
so in the offseason the Tigers offered him a 5-year, $5 million contract. And then I think Galvin knocked that back and said, I want to test my value in the open market, which is fine. But then an email came from Lockie Galvin's camp that told the Tigers to just not even bother reviewing the offer. He's not going to sign anything here. Which smacks of Isaac Moses to me.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's, yeah,
Something
something.
like a deal already being made.
I think there has to. There has to be one that's already been done, whether it be the Roosters or the Dogs or one of the top flight teams, maybe Penrith.
Well, they could do worse.
They could definitely do worse. I think something's not right with this Galvin situation. And I guess I can get this out of the way now because we're going to talk about it anyway. He got dropped. Like he's been axed off the back of a player revolt.
Only 2.
Well, yeah, the leadership. Well, 3, kind of.
The 2 that were mentioned were little.
The names that approached Benji Marshall were Luai and Aki Coruscant.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine how much of a jerk you have to be for Aki Coruscant to not like you. That's insane to me. And also, I think it got deleted now, but Sunya Charuva posted a story on his private Instagram account that had a picture of Lockie Galvin's locker and the song Here Comes the Money playing in the background, which means that there's very clearly, it's all the former Penrith guys. Maybe it's, oh my word, they're all sleeper agents. It's all the Penrith people kicking Galvin out of the club so he can go sign with Penrith.
Oh, wow.
It's all a grand conspiracy.
Well, that's taking coincidence a little too far.
Yeah, coincidental, unfortunately. I think that has to be what it is. I'm running with that narrative now.
Well, you do that and see how it works for you.
But yeah, I hope and pray this doesn't ruin the team chemistry at all.
It could derail their
I
season.
think it very well could. I hope it doesn't. This is a big thing for
Like you say,
Benji.
he's the focal. Who do they put there now? Luai's going to have to take it.
Well,
Who gets the 5-8?
they've put Luai at the 6 and moved Adam Dewey to the 7. But and this is a statement thing because they could have just kept Luai at the 7 and moved Dewey to the 6. But no, they made sure that Luai was the 5'8". That's telling me that Galvin is not going to be back in this team at all. So whether he sees out the rest of his contract at the Tigers or not, I don't think he's going to play another game for them.
Well, I would suggest he'll be trying to get himself out. If that's the case, that would be what his manager would have to be pushing for.
This is it's
At
a
this
rough.
point, while I understand the Tigers' standpoint, you also got to realize this guy's young.
He's very
He's
young.
impressionable, and because if it is his agent that's doing all the damage, they shouldn't be taking it down on him. So you got to remember he's young. You know, maybe there's a some personality clashes. Luai's a very strong personality. Maybe there's some clashes there as well.
Very possible. We just don't know because we're not around the
No,
club.
we don't. I feel for Tigers going through this. I hope it doesn't, but I think it could.
I think it could.
I
hope it doesn't. This is the biggest test a coach can go through, is trying to keep a playing group from fracturing like this in a situation like this.
You've got to know there will be people on Lockie Galvin's side as well.
Absolutely.
That's how it's going to look.
So
You're going to have...
How well can Benji Marshall hold this team together? It's a big test. If he does, it's a great coaching job and he deserves to be there.
Yeah. At the moment, I think he deserves to be there anyway. He's doing well with the team that he has.
He's playing well, yeah, but this is a big test.
It is.
So I guess we will see. What I wouldn't give to be at the reserve grade side that Lockie Galvin plays for this week. Oh my word, the boos would be insane.
Well, I guess we'll see. I mean, what is the...
Actually, don't remember. I need to look into that. It's probably the Magpies, right? I need to look into that.
Yay!
On that note,
Round 7.
that's 7.
Eagles Saints. Eagles Dragons.
Sea Eagles Dragons. For the Sea Eagles, Jason Saab is back from his ankle problem, which just moves Clayton Falwalo to the 18th man. For the Dragons, Christian Tuipulotu has a hamstring problem.
Of course, everybody's got hamstring problems.
Obviously, so Matt Fierney joins the wing. This is an interesting game.
This is at Brookvale?
This is at Brookvale.
So that gives...
It gives Manly the edge.
there, yeah.
I don't know. Just based on how well the Dragons forward pack performed last week, I might have a little bit more faith in them to get it done.
Look, they do have some strike weapons too.
They've got some great strike weapons. I think Tyrell Sloan could be in for a big game here, especially matched up against who's the wing on that side? It'll be Saab, right? Who's certainly not a defensive stalwart.
He's just got speed birds.
This game's interesting. I'm giving the Dragons the edge.
Yeah.
I will not be surprised if the Eagles get up. This is a coin flip.
I'm going to go Manly.
I'll probably go Manly, but without 100% confidence.
I'm going to go Manly 30, Dragons 20.
There could be a few points here.
Manly 30, Dragons.
Manly struggling to score points at the moment.
Moving on to one of the most anticipated matchups on the NRL calendar. Good Friday. Bunnies, Bulldogs. How good. This game is always great. There's a projected 70,000 people are going to be at the stadium. They're doing $10 tickets for this game. This is going to be a spectacle. Do not miss this.
Fly down there.
For the Bulldogs, Matt Burton is back in huge news for them. That moves Bailey Hayward to the bench. Sitili Tupanua comes back onto the bench, so Blake Taft drops to the 18th man.
That's okay.
For Souths, Cody Walker is back and is named at halfback alongside Latrell Mitchell. And Bruce Scott is named for his first NRL appearance off the bench, which is strange. I don't know how he fits the utility mold, but, Wayne Bennett.
He probably knows, yeah.
Campbell Graham is on the wing for Alex Johnson, who's injured again for the third time this year already.
I know he wants to catch what's-his-face, but he's going to have to retire at some stage soon.
It's very sad.
Yeah,
Sean Kepi successfully got his thing downgraded to the judiciary, so he's free to play this week.
Boo.
I can't wait for this. I have no idea who's going to win, but I just know it's going to be great.
I think the Dogs probably just their form at the moment is too good.
Good, yeah. And especially with Latrell still playing at 6.
Getting Burton back is big.
I trust the Dogs to score more
I think
points.
the Dogs.
It'll be tight though.
Dogs 30.
There could be fireworks.
I'm going to go Dogs 30, Bunnies 10. I think it's going to be more of a
I don't think so. It'll be 1 or 2 tries in it, I reckon.
It'll be a good game one way or the other, and hopefully the stadium doesn't.
I was going to say there's either going to be fireworks on the field or in the stands.
As long as the Bunnies crowd doesn't turn on each other like they did a couple of weeks ago.
That was bad. And as long as Reggie the Rabbit doesn't beat up any more children.
He's like 85 years old or something.
That
beating up any children.
Friday night, Dolphins Storm. The Dolphins trot out the same 17.
Which you would.
Jerome Hughes is named. Sorry. So that's good for Melbourne. Suafa-Alongo comes onto the wing for his first game of the year, which is excellent for them, which pushes Grant Anderson to the centres and Moses Leo out of the squad, which is sad because I thought he's been playing for
Yeah, last week, unfortunately, he was probably at his worst game.
Worst of the 2 games about
He's just too good to be kept out of the team.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to be as much of a blowout as people think it's going to be. I think that the Finns could take it to them a little bit.
Oh, the Finns can score points. We know this, but we also know that Melbourne can score a lot
Lots
of
of
points.
points. That's exactly how I think this game's going to go.
I think it's probably going to be 3 tries in it, and the Melbourne will probably have it put away.
Yeah, it'll be like 6 tries to 3 or something.
Yeah.
There's going to be a few points in this game.
Melbourne to win, Dolphins still to put a pretty good effort in.
Yeah, I don't think the Dolphins will be.
So is this at KO or is this at Suncorp?
Let me double check, actually. I don't remember. I really need to be writing down the venues for these. I only ever write down just the home team and the away team. It is at Suncorp.
Okay.
So I think that probably hurts the Dolphins.
Yes, it's better for the Storm. Storm are going to win.
Storm will win, but
fairly comfortably, but
it won't be. It won't be the blowouts that they've given some teams.
They're not going to score 50. They'll be either mid to late.
I'll go Melbourne, probably 30 to 22.
Surprised you didn't hit the Dolphins.
Shut up.
Warriors, Broncos.
Otherwise,
This is in New Zealand.
New Zealand. For the Warriors,
is it at Christchurch or?
Actually, don't remember. I told you, I really need to be writing this down. For the Warriors, obviously, James Harris is out with his pancreas injury for at least a month, I think.
Perhaps, yeah.
No, this is at Mount Smart.
Okay.
So Jackson Ford moves to starting prop, and Jacob Laban joins the bench. Charles Clockstad is also out through concussion. So Tane Tuapiki moves to the fullback. Kurt Capewell moves into the centres, and Coffey moves to the wing. Leke Halasima takes the starting second row spot, and Tamari Martin joins the bench. It's
that is a mess.
The only bonus for New Zealand, I guess, is because they will have had a whole week they can train with this group. Whereas in the game where they got beaten soundly,
it messes up your rotation.
Yeah. So
for Brisbane, Jordan Ricky is back just in time for the suspended and broken arms Jack Kazewski. Tyson Smoothie joins the bench over Marty Tau.
Wow, okay.
I think simply because the Warriors are missing James Harris and they're coming up against Payne Haas and Pat Carrigan, there's just going to be a lot of...
have the edge, but remember, in New Zealand, they become a different beast again, you know.
True.
I don't think it'll be a flogging, but I think Brisbane will probably have a little bit too much class in their side.
I think that's fair. There's going to be a lot of beating down the door from Brisbane, and it won't be convincing. They're going to have a lot of time in the red zone, but not score as many points as they should.
Yeah.
But they're going to win.
Yeah.
I might be insane.
You're going to pick the Warriors 2 weeks in a row?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
The venue is really, really good for the Wars.
Well, we say that, but what are the other fortresses we talk about? Shark Park, Cronulla are 3-3, and Manly are getting poleaxed at home right now. So
New Zealanders are really passionate fan base.
So they do have a passion.
Really, really passionate.
And the Broncos.
Look, and I hope the Warriors.
Look,
I'll tip the Broncos, but I wouldn't mind getting it wrong.
I wouldn't mind getting it wrong either, but
We'll see how it goes.
I trust the Broncos.
I think the Broncos have a little bit more strike power.
Roosters Penrith. Yuck. This is going to be a bad game. This is going to be such a bad game. For the Roosters, Marky Mark is in the centres for the suspended Billy Smith. Victor Radley starts at lock for the Roosters. Mitch Kenny is back for the Panthers, which is good for them. Because for as much as I like Luke Summerton, he's not that good. Luke Garner and Casey McLean are your new centre combo. Whatever it is.
Casey's going home.
So Tom Jenkins moves to the wing, and Isaac Tonga has been dropped to the bench.
That's interesting. Is he a utility player?
He came through the grades initially as a second rower. So he could be used in that way, maybe. I don't know how they're going to use him, but...
Fair enough.
I just remember when he debuted, he was listed in NRL Fantasy as an edge centre. So I know he came through the grades as an edge / centre. So there's that. I don't know what Ivan Cleary is doing, having Talangi, McLean, and Alamotti on the same side again. That's a disaster waiting to happen.
Is it the side of Dom Young?
What's it? That's the right side. No, it'll be the Tupou side.
Okay. Not that it matters because they're almost the same
Oh,
player.
no, you're right. That is the dog gun. Sorry.
Yeah,
He could score a few tries here.
he could.
Um,
Look, it's just going to be a bit of a mess game, but I actually think the Chooks have enough at the moment. If they play like that against Brisbane, they'll win pretty much.
like they did against Penrith in round 2, they're going to win.
Yeah.
I have no idea how this game's going to go.
Penrith are still missing
They still don't
Toppo,
have right top.
which is not great.
No.
They still really haven't found a good solution for the number 6, but and they can't just leave it all up to Nathan. So
I don't know.
I think the Roosters are a bit more settled at the moment.
That's fair.
And Trent Robinson would love nothing more than to get another win against Penrith.
I'm really good Penrith when they're a wooden spoon team. That makes sense.
I'm up Sydney.
I'm going to go with Penrith. Having faith in them.
They seem to have a lot of faith given what you put it
I
at.
put them winning by 4 points in a low-scoring, very bad game.
Well, yeah, okay. I just think the Roosters probably have enough at this point. But
I think that's fair.
who knows? I mean, tipping has been still pretty hit and miss.
It's just 24 Penrith.
Having confidence in Penrith worked so well for me this year, it's bound to work again. I guess, I don't know. I'm not expecting much out of this game.
You know, look at the Titans versus
Titans Raiders. Okay. So for the Titans, Tiny Tino, and Jojo Fafita are back, which is good for them. So Philip Sammy moves into the centres. Bo Fermor moves back to the second row, and Cleese Haas is the one that reverts to the bench.
So Tiny Tino, that's his brother
Isaac, yes. That's a huge vote of confidence for mine from Hasler to David Fafita, because he's been on the bench when they've had a full healthy forward pack. Now he's starting.
Yeah, well, his form last week was all
right?
Yeah, irrepressible.
Yeah.
That's the start. He needs to
really
mirror his effort from last week, though, because remember, he's another one, like a Latrell, like a Hammer, who can
go missing. Yes, absolutely. Which
he can't do that.
Yeah. Which I guess you can kind of afford to do a little bit more when you're in the forward pack.
Yeah.
But when you're such a strike weapon, everyone's looking at you.
Yeah, you can't.
And he's been doing so much pressure for the past couple of years that you will be called
The
out.
problem was when he was at Brisbane, he was playing better than he has at the Gold Coast.
That David Fafita back. How good was that?
Scary.
Oh. He always used to go off against the Cowboys.
I know, it was
He always
frustrating.
used to go off.
How do you play against other teams?
Yeah. For the Raiders, Zach Hosking returns via the bench, so Simi Sasangi drops off. This almost feels a bit like the Titans Knights game a couple of weeks ago because these two teams are so antithetical. Look, the Titans have been bad. I expect them to continue to be bad. However,
the Ravens have been pretty good.
Yes, and they've been good, and maybe they will continue to be good. However, I will not be surprised if this is one of those games where the Titans decide, you know what, we remember how to score points and chuck 40 on these guys. I don't expect that to happen. I think the Raiders will win.
The best player on the park is going to be
Joe Tarpley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be particularly
By no one. Yeah. Maybe Jaden Campbell if the Titans decide they want to score points.
No.
I will never give Hudson Young flowers. I don't like him. I don't like him. I know you don't like him.
He's sort of a hybrid. You need that, obviously.
Yeah, but Corey Horsburgh's on the same team, and I adore him.
Yeah, he's probably worse.
Nice Sharks.
I don't know. Raiders by a little bit, but I will not be surprised if the Titans play well for once.
Yeah, I guess Tino being back, that's a big
Exactly.
Nice Sharks.
Night Sharks.
Sharks by a lot.
I don't know about that. I really
The
don't.
Knights are bad.
Yes, but we know that Cronulla are allergic to winning games convincingly.
Okay, Sharks by enough.
Unless it's against the Cowboys for some reason. Yeah. But yeah, for the Knights, Tyson Gamble is back at halfback.
Oh, wow.
And James Schiller is back on the wing.
Tyson Gamble was bad.
Tyson Gamble was bad. So Phoenix Crossland moves to hooker, Jaden Brayley reverts to the bench.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yes.
And I've got Blake Brayley.
Yeah, you've got Blake, who's on Cronulla. Tyson Frizzell is named a prop, pushing Tyrone Thompson to the bench, not Leo. Matt Croker starts at lock, and Matt Arthur drops off the bench.
Nice.
It kind of feels like shuffling deck chairs, but I guess we'll see. For the Sharks, AFB is named despite being pulled early last week with a groin complaint, so it's the same 17 for now. This should be a get-right game for Cronulla, which means it won't be.
Okay,
They're going to win by 4 points, and they're not going to be convincing at all.
but the Knights who can't score points at all,
Yeah, I suppose that's fair.
at least Cronulla does have attacking weapons. I think Kyle Hero's been really, really
He's
good.
been playing the past few weeks, and he's still not going to be back for another couple. Maybe Maroney's been in
Oh, it's Haroni, that's right.
He's been playing well.
He has been. So we'll get back in.
He's running in for a big game here.
Yeah, I think so. Raymond, he's been a bit
Quiet.
as his mother.
And
Yeah.
this is his former club, so I guess we'll see if he can. And obviously, it's the Brayley brothers brawl.
Still starting from the bench.
I'm starting, that's the issue. But yeah, I guess we'll
So
see.
yeah, I think Cronulla win, and they win by enough to put Newcastle down near the bottom.
Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, Newcastle is starting to get a little bit worried.
Yeah.
We'll see.
How about Brian's going to be the first coach?
Yep, we already talked about the Galvin drama. So Tigers Eels. I imagine the Eels are probably where Lockie Galvin's going to go. So
The Spoon Ball rematch.
Spoonball rematch.
Everybody's going to Tigers.
However, it's completely different circumstances. But the Tigers are competent now. We say that, but obviously the Galvin thing. So Adam Dewey moves to halfback. Jerome Luai shifts to 5'8". Brent Naden's back in the centres to take Adam Dewey's spot. And Luke Laulili joins the wing. Lots of eyes in that.
Well
Well,
said.
the injured Jarrell Skelton. Mitch Moses and Jack Williams are back and are walking into a burning pile of poo.
Moses is back, isn't he?
Moses is back this week. Kelma Tuolangi starts in the second row. Matt Dury and Luca Moretti join the bench, which means Joe Offahengawi, Ryan Madison, Charlie Geimer, and Dean Hawkins all drop out of the squad completely. This game's always weird. This game is weird. These two never play a normal game of football. So even with the Galvin drama, I see the Tigers winning, but by 1 point.
Like last year.
Yes, exactly. Maybe golden point, maybe not. They're going to win by 1 point off, and I'm going to go with a Jerome Luai field goal.
Okay.
I'm going to go with
This game's always weird.
I'm going to go with Carson.
Remember, every season. Oh, remember, was it
Last year.
a couple of years ago when Jackson Hastings was there? It was this game where the Tigers got their first win after being winless for the first 6 rounds or whatever it was. So
It was Hastings to kick the field
it was Hastings, yeah, from 40 metres out. It was a great kick. This game's going to be weird.
Yeah, I think
I think the Eels will lift a little bit with Mitch Moses back because they always do.
Yeah.
Like, Will Penasini, I know, always performs better when Mitch Moses is in the team. And maybe some of the edge people will do better with a player of his caliber inside them, no matter how not 100% he is.
Yeah. Hopefully he's not back too early and he's out for the rest of the season.
Hey, I like watching Mitch Moses. I think he's a great player.
Yeah, he's a bit of a. It's a lot of property.
You don't like him because he's a New South Welshman.
No, I don't care about him being New South Welshman.
Yeah, this will be a bad game that's close.
He likes Rhys Robson.
Yeah. I don't know. This round will be interesting. There's a few interesting games.
Whoever dominates Luai or Moses probably. Or
Yeah.
Winning team.
I know. I think I trust Dream Buller to be a better steerer in attack than Isaiah Ione is.
Yeah. So done very well.
I think the fullback is going to be the big difference between these two teams.
Yeah, well, Tigers should probably win, but we'll see.
We will see. There's always one weird upset this year, so it'll be
One thing we know is that the Cowboys will beat the bye.
maybe. Just hope no one gets injured. One get injured. It's not raining, so
No.
don't have to train in the rain.
That's always good too.
So yeah,
I think the Panthers was going to give them a couple of days where they could just relax over Easter and stuff like that, which is nice.
Yeah.
You know, it's good.
Man.
I think that's really nice. And
and second thought, maybe not. Actually play a fake game. Stay away from family. There's always drama.
Man, shut up.
Hey, all right. I think that does it for us.
Yay!
good luck with as normal, good luck with your tipping, good luck with your fantasy.
Hope you do well, and with no exceptions this week, because we don't have to lose to anybody.
That's really, really nice. So we won't have much to talk about as far as the Cowboys next week.
All right, yeah, we won't be an hour and a half long next week.
And if you do feel that way inclined, just give us a like or a subscribe. That'd be great.
If you like listening to a few morons chat football,
I do nothing, so.
it's there for decoration. That's why you're the corner post.
He said it. He said it.
All right. Catch you guys.
See you later.
Bye.
Good footy.
Guys.